You know that feeling when you open your banking app and you don't immediately close it in a panic? Maybe you even kind of smile? That exact moment when you realize you can buy a coffee without having to eat ramen for dinner on Friday? Well, believe it or not, there's a specific number where that big shift happens. And I'm telling you, it's not what most people think it is.
So let me ask you, when you think about being rich, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A millionaire with a garage full of sports cars? Somebody who won the lottery? Yeah, we all have those images. But the real path to wealth, it doesn't start with some giant lucky leap. Nope. It starts with one single, incredibly important step.
We're always told you need 6 figures, maybe even a cool million, to finally feel financially secure. But the truth is, there's a much smaller, much more achievable milestone that completely rewires how you think and feel about money, and once you hit it, everything changes.
And that number is $5,000. Okay, let's really dive into this, because this is about so much more than just saving a bit of cash. This is the first, and I mean the most important threshold in building real, actual wealth. This is the point where the entire game changes in your favor.
So what is it about $5,000? What makes it so special? Well, you can think of it like an invisible barrier, a financial dividing line that almost nobody ever talks about, but it makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, listen to that. This is what it's all about. Reaching this goal is what separates the people who build from the people who just spend. It's the fork in the road between a life of constant money stress and a life of financial freedom, and it all starts right here.
Think about it like you're trying to push a massive boulder up a super steep hill. Just getting that thing to budge, even an inch, takes a ridiculous amount of effort, right? You're fighting gravity, you're fighting inertia. That's exactly what saving your first $5,000 feels like. But once you grind it out and get that boulder to the top of the hill, something amazing happens.
Because before you reach that turning point, your brain is operating in a completely different way. It's a state that's totally defined by fear and scarcity.
Psychologists have a name for this. They call it survival mode. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Your brain isn't thinking about growth, it's not looking for opportunities, it is 100% consumed by immediate threats. Every single dollar decision you make is filtered through one question: how do I make it to my next paycheck?
And this is what that actually looks like in real life. You take that dead-end job because you need the cash now. You stay in a place you hate because the thought of leaving is just too terrifying. You say yes to everything when what you really want to say is no. You're not in control, you're just putting out one fire after another, feeling completely trapped.
And why is that? It's because all of your mental bandwidth is just gone. Trying to think about your future, about investing or starting a side hustle, it's like trying to plan a 2-week tropical vacation while your house is literally burning to the ground. It's impossible. Your only focus is putting out the fire.
But once you push past that $5,000 mark, the fire is out. The boulder is at the top of the hill, and everything, I mean everything, in your mind and in your bank account starts to shift.
The main question running through your head literally flips. You go from this defensive mindset of, how do I survive, to an offensive one. Okay, how do I make this money grow? You see the difference? You're no longer just playing defense to not lose. You are finally playing to win. And this is where the math starts to get really, really fun.
Now, just look at this, because this is where it gets crazy. Let's say you're saving a consistent amount. Getting that first $5,000 takes what? About 3.5 years of pure grit. It's a slog. But the next $5,000, that only takes 30 months. And the third, just 23. By the time you get to your 7th chunk of $5,000, it takes less than a year. Your effort is the same, but now your money is starting to do the heavy lifting for you.
So how does that happen? Well, if you get a decent return, say 12% a year, your $5,000 starts to generate its own cash. We're talking about $600 a year that just appears in your account without you lifting a finger. That's your money earned for you while you were sleeping. It's the first taste of freedom.
But this whole thing builds into something so much more powerful than just numbers on a screen. The real change here isn't just mathematical, it's psychological. You're literally stepping into a whole new reality.
Think about it. The discipline it took to get here, saying no to that impulse buy, tracking where your money went, staying consistent month after month, that whole process reprogrammed you. You proved to yourself that you are in control of your money,
not the other way around. That's not just a financial skill, my friend, that's a life skill.
And that new identity, that new confidence, gives you something I like to call go-away money. It's that buffer, that cushion, that means could you walk away from your job tomorrow and be okay for months while you find something better. It completely changes the power dynamic at work.
All of a sudden, you have a career superpower. You're negotiating from a position of strength, not desperation. You can finally ask for that raise you know you deserve, because the worst they can say is no, and you'll be fine. You get more confident, more assertive, and guess what? People notice that. Your boss notices that. It creates this amazing positive feedback loop that just accelerates everything: your career, your income, your wealth.
But this is where the journey gets tricky. You've hit this huge milestone. You're feeling powerful, you're feeling confident, and right at that moment, you face your first big test. And this right here is where so many people stumble. And look, it even happened to me. I hit my goal, I felt that sense of freedom, and what did I do? I immediately went out and spent it on a motorcycle I absolutely did not need. You feel like you've earned a reward, right? A down payment on a new car, a fancy vacation. So, it all comes down to this one simple question. How do you see this money? Is it a reward for all your past hard work, something to be spent and enjoyed right now? Or is it the foundation for your entire financial future, something to be protected and built upon? This single choice determines everything that happens next. Let's just look at the raw numbers here. That $15,000 car isn't just a $15,000 hole in your pocket. It's the $130,000 it could have turned into over 20 years. One choice is actively destroying your future wealth. The other choice is actively building your freedom. It really is that black and white.
And that leads to this beautiful irony, doesn't it? The person you see driving that flashy, expensive car, they look successful, but they're probably stressed to the gills about making the next payment. Meanwhile, the person in the boring, used sedan is quietly, silently building a fortune and sleeping like a baby at night, knowing their futures is secure.
Look, $5,000 isn't going to make you rich overnight. It won't. But what it will do is fundamentally change the entire game. It's the difference between surviving and actually thriving. It's that first hard push that finally gets the boulder rolling downhill, picking up speed on its own. So the real question is, are you going to start building that foundation today? Because the choice you make right now is the one your future self is either going to thank you for or deeply regret. What's it going to be?
Nelle sole sul rossi pa che muoversi ya.